Joe Healy with D1 Baseball here with Texas A&M head baseball coach Jim Schlossnagle. His team taking part in the Kubota College Baseball Series. That's the third weekend of the season against Arizona State and USC at Globe Life Field. Really fun, interesting field of teams there. TCU also taking part, but of course, because of the scheduling with USC and Arizona State, A&M and TCU won't see each other in that field, but should be a fun weekend of baseball at Globe Life Field. First off, Coach, I appreciate you joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Joe. I appreciate everything you and all your group at D1 Baseball and obviously the Rangers, all you guys do to promote college baseball.
Appreciate that, Coach. As you look leading up to the season now, has there been a point of emphasis or a theme for your team as you go back to the fall and now in the lead up to the season?
I mean, we're only about a week in, but I think that it's been the same theme from the fall. You know, our team last year, I felt like we underperformed in a lot of ways, but the main thing we had was, we didn't throw strikes. We had one of the worst pitching staffs in the history of Texas A&M in terms of ERA but more importantly, walks and free bases. So, I feel like our offense will be solid. And I think our pitching is improved. Is it SEC elite? Is it up there with the Arkansas and Vandy in Florida, the more established programs that have, had head coaches for a really long time that have stacked recruiting class on top of recruiting classes. We're headed in that direction. We have some really good freshmen, but there's a difference between, being ready to play college baseball and ready to play in this league. And so I think just throwing strikes and limiting free bases, that's been the number one theme.
On the offensive side, I think folks are pretty familiar with Jace Laviolette, given what he did last year for you, especially down the stretch. Is there any way that he could actually get even better this season? I mean, what do you see from his game?
Yeah, well, first of all, he's going to center field, unless something changes between now and then. So, that's what he played as a high school player. That's what he played, I believe, for Team USA some this summer. And so, he's a big man and he can really run. So getting back in that spot will be, I don't say it's be an adjustment for him. It's just something different. And then I think as every young player has to do, you continue to get better at controlling the strike zone. And if, the more he, if everybody stays healthy in our lineup, you're going to have to pitch to somebody. I'm not sure he's the guy I would choose, but he just got to make sure he swings at his pitch, not try to press and not try to do anything other than that. And a player like Jace he's grown up with expectations. So he's really good at kind of staying in the middle and handling that. I think we have some other players on our team that are about to experience that, but Jace is, we just got to keep him healthy and have him manage the strike zone.
What has Braden Montgomery added to the mix, the Stanford transfer?
Well, first of all, he's just an awesome presence in the dugout, in the locker room, around the program. For a guy with that many accolades he's from Mississippi, was at Stanford, was part of ending our season last year, both with the bat and on the mound. The way he's come in and embraced everybody in the program and they've embraced him, that's super important. If he would have be standoffish or kind of like a free agent in the big leagues that just comes into play versus someone that comes in to dive into your program, he's done that. And that's a huge first step. But every other way, obviously having a switch hitter in the middle of your lineup, a guy that can do well in the outfield and has the potential to help us a little bit on the mound. We'll see how much he pitches. That's always relative to how well he pitches versus everybody else, right? The guys that pitch the best pitch the most. But he's a really good player and just a tremendous physical presence in the lineup.
Tell us a little bit about Justin Lampkin and his role going into this season. That took some lumps last year, but I think we saw with what he did in the SEC tournament that he's obviously got some ceiling there. So tell us a little bit about him.
Yeah, Butch Thompson, who I respect a lot at Auburn, I heard him do a press conference one day and say it takes 2 to 3 years to build an SEC pitcher. And we did a study that over the last 3 years in the SEC, so I guess since COVID, 67% of freshman pitchers either don't pitch at all or throw less than 20 innings. 67%, right? And so Lampkin and Sadeo for us were one of those few players that threw more than 40 innings. And unless there are a few outliers like a Drew Beam or a Chase Burns or somebody who in their freshman year just, really lights it up a lot. But for the most part, if you're going to pitch in this league as a freshman, get ready. I mean, if you can keep your ERA around 5, you're actually doing a pretty good job. So he went through that. He was always an elite strike thrower for us. Max, our new pitching coach, Max Weiner, has done an awesome job of kind of honing in his pitches and his stuff and his repertoire, adding maybe a little bit better breaking ball, doing a few things analytically to maybe give him a better chance. But at the end of the day, he throws strikes, and he's left-handed, and something about the rotation of the earth, a lefty that throws strikes, regardless of their stuff, tends to give you a good chance. And having been through, the SEC tournament, starting in a regional, he's seasoned, and we have talented pitchers, but we don't have that many seasoned pitchers like some of these other programs do. And so Lampkin is a commodity that way.
What has to happen in your mind for this team to reach its ceiling in the end, whatever that may be?
Yeah, starting pitching. To me, it begins and ends with starting pitching. Obviously, health is going to dictate everything. I think, there's probably 25 to 40 teams in the country that have a legitimate chance to play in the College World Series and win a national title. And it's all going to boil down to A, who stays healthy, and then B, the way the ball bounces towards the end of the season. But for us, it's just starting pitching. I think we went 30-something consecutive games last year without a starting pitcher getting, through the 5th inning. So you just can't survive that way. And so, starting pitching, that's where it starts. And then catch the baseball, play good defense. The offense will come and go. That's normal, especially in this league. But we have to be able to pitch with the best teams.
And finally, you're no stranger, both at your time at A&M and when you were at TCU, to tournaments like this, big league ballpark, great competition. Why is it important for you to expose your team to something like that and play in a big league ballpark like Globe Life Field?
Well, number one, they have a roof. So and seriously, the biggest challenge, I don't care what part of the country you're in, even unless you're Miami, maybe, the biggest part of the challenge in the first 4 weeks of the season is just getting the games in. Right. And so it's awesome to, be able to go somewhere and you're playing, B, you don't have to throw on 4 layers of clothes to do it. And so that's the first thing. And then the competition, being around the atmosphere, certainly, the 12th man, Aggie fans are going to show up anywhere. They'll show up to a ping pong match. And then you throw in USC, Arizona State, and TCU having the great season they had last year. I know they have a great team coming in, and it's right in their backyard. So should be an awesome experience for us. And then I think putting your players in those big league environments, big league stadiums, help prepare us for SEC play, which always helps you prepare for the postseason.
Again, that's Texas A&M head coach Jim Schlossnagle, his team taking part in the Kubota College Baseball Series, the 3rd weekend of the season. They'll play Arizona State and USC. TCU, as he mentioned, also involved there at Globe Life Field. Coach, I appreciate you joining us this morning.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Gig 'em.